Hello and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. I'm Haxi Meisbelkin and this is Eye on Africa. The headlines. 2 days after a Cameroonian army vessel sinks off the country's southwestern coast, the chance of finding any of the 34 missing soldiers becomes ever more remote. We'll be hearing from our correspondent in the country. Faced with growing civil unrest after his refusal to leave office when he was meant to, Congolese President Joseph Kabila reshuffles key posts in his country's police force. And as South African politicians mark International Nelson Mandela Day with renewed calls for President Jacob Zuma to step down, France 24 speaks with Mandela's widow, Graça Machel, about continuing her husband's legacy. Hello again, thank you very much for joining us. Let's begin in Cameroon, where hopes are fading for the 34 soldiers declared missing after a boat belonging to an elite military unit capsized and sank off the country's coast. 37 people were on board the vessel. Only 3 were rescued in the immediate aftermath. Authorities believe that the accident was caused by rough waters, although an investigation is currently underway to clarify the exact circumstances of the tragedy. Our correspondents Zigoto Chaya and Marcel Amoko report from back in Gili on an ongoing rescue mission.
In the distance, Cameroon's elite military unit, the Rapid Intervention Brigade, is on a search and rescue mission. 48 hours after the military ship Mandemba capsized, the search operation has been narrowed down off Bakingili in the southwest of the country. Joseph, the chief of this fishing village, has gathered the search team to bless their efforts in finding the missing soldiers.
Here is like the shrine that our forefathers taught us. What we want, that the corpse in the sea with our ancestors and God will bring out those corpses. You can go now to the sea and do search.
After 48 hours of unsuccessful search and rescue efforts, the army asked local residents to help locate the wreckage of the ship, which fell off the radar on Sunday morning in rough seas, well known to these fishermen.
We are going to check, locate the area for the missing bee. So we are going to locate the area now, and we are coming back maybe in 2 hours' time.
A 2-hour race against the clock to try and spot the ship and its passengers. Elias and several other fishermen saw the ship sink in the open sea without really understanding what they were witnessing.
As we were fishing, after 1 hour,
we were fishing. After an hour, we noticed that something was happening there, about 10 nautical miles away from where we were. But we couldn't know what was going on. We thought maybe it was whales playing. But after 2 hours, it disappeared, and we thought the whales had gone. But in the evening, we learned that a boat had sunk.
As the search continues, a government-commissioned inquiry has been launched to determine the causes of the tragedy.
The Congolese National Police Force has a new chief, and the country's capital, Kinshasa, has a new police commander. President Joseph Kabila's reshuffle comes amid a spike in militia violence, prison breaks and kidnappings since Kabila's refusal to step down when his mandate expired in December. Our correspondent in Kinshasa, Thomas Nicolon, has the details.
Prison breaks, kidnappings, rising militia violence. Insecurity is on the rise in DR Congo, and because of that, President Joseph Kabila decided to replace the national chief of police, but also the police commander in Kinshasa, the capital city, General Kanyama, who came under US and European Union sanctions last year for human rights violations by the police. Rising insecurity, and particularly in the capital city, Kinshasa, where last May 4,000 inmates escaped from the city's largest prison. Last Friday, an unidentified group of men attacked the city's largest market, leading to the death of at least 2 people. In the northeastern part of the country as well, last week in the Ituri forest, an armed group killed 4 park rangers in the Okapi Wildlife Reserve, while 3 foreign journalists that were with them were able to escape and flee into the forest.
Kenyans looking forward to a televised debate between 6 vice presidential candidates were left disappointed when only one of them turned up. But former banker Eliud Matura Kariara wasn't put off and proceeded to answer questions from both the debate moderators and audience members. That coming amid mounting uncertainty surrounding the date of the presidential vote, scheduled for the 8th of August. Ballots were meant to go to print this Tuesday, but following the High Court's decision to cancel the printing contract after accusations the winning company had links to incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Boundaries Commission's subsequent decision to appeal, it's unclear if the ballots will be ready in time. Now, one of the towns hardest hit by years of inter-ethnic violence in South Sudan is Yei, which is controlled by the government but besieged by rebel militias. Last year, some 70% of its residents fled when the fighting became unbearable, but some people did stay, young children among them, many of whom had lost parents. They sought refuge and education in a local Catholic school that somehow has managed to keep its doors open. Nicolas Germain has this report.
It is largely a ghost town. 70% of the population has fled the conflict in South Sudan. Government soldiers are in the town, but armed groups control the roads that lead to Yei. Both sides have restricted access to food and aid, but despite the chaos, one local Catholic school has remained open. Many of the pupils are orphans.
I don't have parents. My parents are all dead. I don't have someone to support me in my education. I am the one who supports myself in education.
14 teachers have stayed in the town to volunteer their time.
We cannot surrender. That was one of our motto of the school. Even if problems are like that, education must continue, and so that a generation to come should not face the challenge that we are in.
In the last 4 years, tens of thousands of people have been killed during the civil war. The students sent a clear message to the nation's politicians.
And to beg our leaders, let them bring peace to South Sudan so that South Sudanese children should enjoy their life like the one of ago.
The UN is considering opening a peacekeeping base in the troubled Yei region. It would be the UN's first such expansion since the civil war began in 2013. Nearly 2 million people have fled the country since then, creating the world's fastest growing refugee crisis.
Today is International Nelson Mandela Day. It was set up 8 years ago to commemorate Mandela's contribution to South Africa and the world. But this year, a number of South African lawmakers used the opportunity to once again call for the resignation of President Jacob Zuma, whose 8 years in office have been plagued with scandal. Pravin Gordhan, a respected former finance minister sacked by Zuma, said it was time for someone else to set South Africa on a better course, while a backbencher from Zuma's own ANC party described Zuma as disgraceful. Meanwhile, away from the political crisis threatening to engulf Zuma's presidency, the Elders, an independent group of global leaders and a powerful voice in South Africa, are working to continue Nelson Mandela's legacy. France 24's Caroline Dumais spoke to Graça Machel, co-founder of the Elders and former wife of Mandela, about what lies ahead.
The Elders decided to combine the celebration of the 10th anniversary of our existence with launching a year-long celebration of 100 years of Madiba. We are going to focus on communities, focus on issues which continue the freedoms which are connected to the long walk to freedom of Nelson Mandela.
What was so important for you in the last 10 years that the Elders achieved?
The Elders have chosen equality as one of the focus of our work. And during the last 10 years, we chose to work with organizations who are in different parts of the globe. There were a movement at grassroots level who were working on child marriage. And we decided then to give them support, to elevate their voice, to strengthen them to become a global movement. Today, the agenda of child marriage has been adopted by the United Nations. The African Union has a strategy on child marriage. Many African countries, as I know, they also domesticated child marriage as part of the issues they have to address. So there we have an example of what Nelson Mandela asked us to do, which is to elevate the voice of the voiceless and bring them to the light of a global agenda and transform them actually in a movement which today we can call the Girls Not Bright.
On the Elders Without Madiba, I mean, is that the same? Do you have the same strength? Do you have the same aura? I mean, how is that business as usual without Madiba?
Yes and no. In the sense that, personality like Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu, they are irreplaceable. There's no one like them. They are unique. So yes, we miss them amongst the elders, but we also stick to the values and the principles of the mandate Nelson Mandela gave to us. And we do our best as people we are, as a collective we are, knowing that in every time there will be different leaders to deal with the challenge human family face. So yes, we don't try to imitate them, but we try to do our work the best we can.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's show, but do stay tuned. All our world news headlines are coming right up.